And so now I'm kind of doing it, so this is pretty cool. And
hi, Kanard.
Nice to meet you.
we struggle, but I've seen certain things that actually made me who I am.
I watched. I went through all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Part like a big turning point in my life, like around.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Hello, everybody. I'm Kanard Lewis, and this right here is the second interview for TKW videos, and I'm here with my man Cam.
What's up?
How's it going?
Doing all right. How are you?
Everything good. Everything good. Introduce yourself a little bit. I guess name, major, what you do, a little bit about yourself. Where you from?
So my name is Kamron Husbands. I'm from Beacon, New York.
Okay.
My major, I'm a double major in communication studies and philosophy, and I have a minor in business administration. And in terms of what I do, for that, I guess I would say I like to write with my story ideas, and just interested in video games and stuff.
How come you chose the path of being a philosophy and a comm major and stuff like that? What persuaded you to actually do that?
So for starters, when all my life through, of course, elementary school, middle school, and up to high school, I got really into drawing. I wanted to be an artist, and it shaped into me wanting to be an illustrator. The story ideas I created over my life, I wanted to, I wanted to create them in like comic book format and everything. But eventually, I realized that my artistry wasn't truly much of a lifestyle, but more of like something fun to do, more of a hobby. So after a while, once, my voice started to develop in like high school and everything, a lot of people started talking to me saying, you should get into like communication. You should have communication as a minor while you have illustration as a major.
Yeah.
Once I realized that illustration was more of a hobby and everything, I started applying to colleges with my major being in communication while my minor being in illustration. Illustration is not in that right now, but yeah, that's why I got into the communication side of things. In terms of philosophy, I guess going into deep stuff already.
Yeah.
Growing up, I guess when I was younger, growing up in a very strict Christian household and whatnot. Being that way, it's one of those things where you always, go to church every Sunday, and there's many things and many topics as you're a kid, where adults will tell you, this is how it is. And it's not just in religion, it's a lot of things where it's not just how it is, this is how it is, and don't really question it.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, of course, I was growing up around a lot of people and a lot of my friends who were also questioning things and stuff, and just how the world is overall. And for a CCC, for a Common Course credit, I decided to take Intro to Philosophy, and the way everything was formatted with like analyzing arguments and just like applying logic into many things, and how it just kind of synchronized with my communication studies and critical analysis and all that stuff. That's what got me into it. So at first it was a minor and everything, but I really started to enjoy it, and I said, you know what, let's make it a second major. So that's how I got philosophy into being my second.
So would you consider yourself a man of God?
Man of God?
Or more of I guess the lines of, was it an agnostic or something, or?
Yeah.
You don't really have evidence to support either doing it or not?
Again, growing up about questioning religion overall, yes, I would have to say that I would consider myself an agnostic.
Okay.
Being raised in the Christian faith, and everything I do, there's, of course, that spirituality side and then the religious side where you do things to be good and you do things for good and everything, but then spirituality side is like what do you believe in and stuff. My mom always raised me in order to, she says, as long as you're doing the right thing. So I still, have my morals and always want to be a good person.
Yeah,
always wanted to be looked at as a good person and stuff, and seen as an inspiration to the younger generation and stuff. But in terms of spirituality, that is still for me to come into question. The reason why I'm not saying I'm an atheist either, is because there are many things and many arguments out there that are saying the existence of God is true, that the existence of God, like, there is a God out there. But then there are also many arguments in saying that there isn't, and stuff. So
it's kind of hard to differentiate the both, because you have
exactly,
because you kind of have like people saying that there aren't, or like there isn't a God, because how can there be a God if a lot of these bad things happen and all that? But then people have their own spiritual awakenings about that, saying like there is a God, because I've had the experience, I've seen the other side almost with maybe death or just other things. So
yeah, I know a lot of people. They've said they do end up going to saying like, I went through these spiritual experiences and whatnot. But of course, I know like somebody from the opposite side would end up saying, well, like how can you prove that? How can you say that you yourself went through the spiritual experience and stuff? How can you say that it's not different from anybody else's spiritual experience? What you saw could be different from somebody else. So for me, again, being an agnostic is saying like there's no true answer right now.
It's up to interpretation.
Yeah, it's still up into subjective interpretation, and I'm trying to look at it objectively, trying to see like the all across the board the truth and the answer, but as of right now, me being a college student and having to study a lot and just work on myself so I can have a career and be able to supply for my family and my mom, and my sister, and then my own like family that I'll end up forming one day. Like, just I'm focusing on that right now.
Yeah.
Of course, to do good and be good, like that's still instilled within me from my mom, but in terms of like the spiritual side of things, that's still just right now in the question. And
in that process of questioning whether there is a God or there's not a God, how has that been for your family? Because if you're being raised in a Christian household, you have your son who as a mom or as a dad, you would think, what, son, or Cam per se, you should believe in God too, because we believe in it. You should believe in it. And although your mom says, as long as you're doing good, but how has that been a clash within the household, or if there hasn't been,
Well, of course, me having these thoughts of like, what, and finding out the definition of like the word agnostic and stuff, I was always struggling with that ever since like middle school and stuff. I know, like there was moments where at first in a Christian faith you claim that you're saved, and then you go into baptism and stuff, and you get baptized. But then when I declared that I was saved when I was like young like and stuff in elementary school. But back then when that happened, it was kind of like I did it because it was Children's Day at the church.
Yeah.
And when one of the children get up, of course everybody has to get up. So I did that, but I also wanted to do it because I wanted to make my mom happy. That day when I did it, like the look on my mom's face was she was overjoyed to see that I did that. But then when it came to being baptized, my mom, she wasn't pushing for it, but I told myself I didn't believe I was truly ready. To be baptized, it's like it's a full like oath that you want to put forth. Like I wanted to go 100% within it. If I wanted to be baptized. But of course I was still questioning over time. So once I finally went to college and everything, I finally figured out like the term agnostic, and I was trying to figure out a way to talk to my mom about it, because of course they were still going to church every Sunday and all that stuff. But then I finally told my mom one day, because I was struggling with something, and then my mom talked to me and said, just put faith in God, etc. And then and then that's when I finally told it to her. She said, it's understandable. It's understandable and everything that I still believe what I want to believe. But as you said, doing the right thing is what truly matters.
Yeah.
She wanted to raise me. She didn't want to raise me into being. She never truly wanted to raise me into being a Christian. She wanted to raise me into being a good person. So for that, my mom still supports me in whatever I do and everything, as long as I'm still, very doing good.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I know I've talked to, let's say I end up having spiritual godparents in middle school and high school, and eventually I broke it down to them and everything because they wanted me to get more involved in their church. But when it came to being involved in the several churches over time, I kind of backed myself away from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, through them again, they accepted it too. They were perfectly fine with it too, because like they said at some point when they were younger, they were also questioning as well, and eventually it's led them to believing in God and everything, but yeah, they're perfectly fine with that as well. So in terms of that. Of course, when there's time to show support at let's say their church or see somebody where my mom she's in a choir and everything. If I want to show support for her, of course I'll still go and everything. But knowing that I still have a lot of close people who accept me for what I believe in, as I accept them for what they believe in, I'd say that's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
And I guess talking about the struggles within, I guess, your religious families or just even within yourself, has there been any other defining moments besides religion that has definitely played a role in making you who you are as a person? Maybe it could be like making other people happy. Just any defining moments that have made you the person that you are now.
I guess I would say through the religious aspect, there's a lot of things instilled within people, of course, to be charitable, spread love and everything, and through that, I would say the most influential part. I wouldn't say it was through just. I wouldn't say it was just through like the Christian teachings. I would say that it was heavily instilled within my mom and my grandma and stuff. Who like my mom would always tell me the tales of how she was raised, and a strict Caribbean mom and everything. So through the people who were around me and how they were very good people. How they are very good people, and they still do these good things within the community and with their family members, and how my mom is still a loving, caring individual who there are times where she would end up putting herself first. No, not herself first, but other people before her. Yeah. So through that, she was more of my like, how you say it, like, your inspiration, your role model.
Yeah.
There we go.
Your rock almost.
Yeah, exactly. So I gained a lot of that, a lot of like those morals and being a kind, generous, and caring person from her, and again my grandma and all the people around her.
That's good. What do you say is just as much as she put other people per se before herself? Did you ever struggle with that, seeing that almost, where you kind of got baptized because you wanted to make your mom happy, and after time you did pull back, but were there any other moments where
I put myself first,
or like other people first, and then you maybe like you regretted it or something?
I mean, I could probably think of like some silly things like back when I was younger, where I would fall back from different decisions. and stuff, so I can let other people better themselves. But yeah, I still do have, I guess, that tendency of looking out for so many people. Of course, through that, being cared about and taking care of others, it makes me feel good inside, at least, to take care of people and to see that they're happy. So I would say I have struggled with it in like times, and I still have a tendency of doing that. But now, and as my mom's been teaching me, there are a lot of times where I have to put myself first and stuff, because in this world, when we grow up, that's kind of how we only get by.
Yeah.
Where we got to always look out for number one, and then, again, that number one is yourself. So that's what I'd say.
That's true. Well, you heard it here, folks. Thank you again, Cam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Cam talking about the balance between whether there is a God or whether there isn't, and worrying about yourself. I know that can be kind of difficult when you want to make other people happy, but at the end of the day, as Cam was talking about, he struggles, so it doesn't mean that you won't have those same struggles, but it's about making the effort to put yourself first, questioning reality, questioning the ideas that are spread around, because if you don't believe in it, or if you're believing in it blindly, then it's good to reevaluate why you believe in certain things. So thank you, and I'll see you next week.